Nobody is sexually active. Welcome back to my channel, guys. It's your girl Esiri once again on your screen. I have been recovering from the flu and just like a lot of motivation, to be honest. That's why there's been no videos, but I'm kind of healing and I feel like I'm kind of getting into the swing of things, so hopefully we kind of keep up with the videos. But also, I don't want to just come and make a video if it's not, like, if it doesn't make sense and if there's no substance. I did make a video, I think like 6 or 8 months ago, about why black kids hate their parents. That video actually did really well, which I'm so happy about because I was kind of a bit apprehensive, I think, to make that video. This video is kind of like a offspring of that other video. I've been seeing this term narcissism everywhere. Personally, I feel like it's quite complicated, but once you get it, right? So narcissistic personality disorder, which is crazy because I didn't know it was actually a disorder, is a mental health condition in which people have an unreasonably high sense of their own importance. They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. So I read this book, or rather I listened to this book by an author called Caroline Foster. She's a psychologist, I believe, and the book is basically titled Narcissistic Mothers: How to Handle a Narcissistic Parent and Recover from CPTSD. Today's video, we're going to talk a little bit more about how to know whether your mother is a narcissist or not. When I make these kind of videos, it's always to help people. It's always to be kind of helpful, educative, informative, that sort of thing. These videos aren't supposed to bash anyone's parents or family, whoever. It's just to be helpful, you know. And, you know, I always have to remind people I'm grown, I'm an adult, I can talk about what I want, when I want. I'm respectful with it. That's the most important thing. But I'm going to say what I want. If you guys want to learn more about narcissistic mothers, how to know if you've got a narcissistic mother, then keep watching. Make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you like videos like this, and leave your thoughts down in the description box about this topic. Let's see what you think. Let's get a little conversation going and let's get into the video. If your mother tends to compete with you. Now, I'm not going to say too much about this because I don't think this is something that I'm too experienced with to actually explain, but it doesn't apply to everyone in every situation who has a narcissistic mother. Some mothers kind of see their youth dwindling. They have maybe like a fear of getting older, or they look at themselves in the mirror and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't look how I used to look. And they're looking at their daughter and they're just like, you're so beautiful. You're just so young and my youth is dwindling. You know what I'm saying? Some mothers look at that and they start competing with their daughters. If you have a mother, now this one hits home, okay? If you have a mother that accuses you of being promiscuous, this one mainly is very specific to daughters. We all know the whole thing about sexuality being looked at differently if you're a man compared to if you're a woman. It's just different. When it comes to mothers dealing with their daughters, right, in this sort of narcissistic context, the daughter is usually accused of being promiscuous. And when Caroline mentioned it in her video, I was like, oh, like, I thought maybe, you know, sometimes you go through things and you think, wow, is this just me? This is definitely just me. And then you hear some other people speak about it who are professionals. One thing African mothers like to do is they like to accuse their daughters of being pregnant. Me and my friend were having this conversation some time ago, and we were just like, she was saying she doesn't understand why it's always pregnancy. She was telling me her mom is like, I had a dream you were pregnant. Ain't nobody pregnant. No one's even active. Nobody is sexually active. but it's always pregnancy. She was like, Esiri, what is it? Guys, I don't know. You know, in that last video, I mentioned something about how African parents are really big on, you know, what happens in the house, what happens in the household stays in the household. It mustn't get out. You don't just tell other people outside the issues in the household. They want to stick with that. But when you do something that the mother isn't particularly fond of, they're on the phone to their close friends. Esiri did. Esiri did. They're spreading the business. They're gossiping. Gossip is quite common for women anyway, but you tend to see this with narcissistic parents. I think it has something to do with changing other people's perception of you, which is actually very manipulative, to be honest. When people do stuff like this in general, I think sometimes it could also be rooted in, going back to the narcissistic thing, like the definition, it could be rooted in people wanting to kind of elevate themselves, maybe to look kind of better. That's why they slander others like all the time, because it's like the contrast between what I'm saying about this person and me is like great. So it's like I look like a better person compared to that person I'm slandering or I'm gossiping about. Do you know what I mean? A narcissistic mother will also often tell you about how you're not good enough. This can be explicitly saying it, and this can be like more indirect, right? It's so funny because I saw a TikTok. I was telling my sister about it. It was something like, when my parents see the kids that they used to compare me to, like what they're doing now. And I was telling my sister, like, oof, child, there was this girl I grew up with. The parents were family friends with my parents. We were like this. I remember when my mother and I would get into an argument when I was like, I don't know, maybe 14, 15, around that age where you're just kind of dumb, you know. And I remember her saying, you can't even stand next to blah, blah, blah. You can't compete with her. She's going to be a doctor. She's going to study medicine and all this stuff. But how many years now down the line? 10 years? I look at her life. I see her, how she lives on Instagram. And I'm over here. I don't envy sis at all. Like, I legit want to be like, mommy, this is who you were comparing me to. This is what I was supposed to be. Oh. And I think if a lot of parents actually saw the people they used to compare their kids to, they would be horrified. Growing up as well, I'd get body shamed. Like, even like at my age now, a lot of my insecurities with my body and stuff like that, I think it's definitely stemmed from that. It was like, okay, if we're having a heated disagreement, I'm going to attack the weight. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of messed up. Again, going back to what I said previously, kind of exalts yourself a little bit. I guess going back to the whole narcissist definition, it makes you exalt yourself and feel better about yourself and how you look. And actually, some of the mothers calling their daughters fat, overweight, making them feel bad about their bodies, they're obese. You know what I'm saying? That's not a jab. That's just facts. Your child is going to grow up with low self-esteem. The last one I've written down: how to know your mother is a narcissist. Does your mother play the victim a lot? With everything I've just said, does your mother throw a fit? Does she start crying? You're so ungrateful. Oh my gosh, everything I've done for you, you're so ungrateful. Bearing in mind everything I've just said today, if they've done a bunch of the stuff I've just mentioned, and then after it all, oh my gosh, you're so ungrateful. One thing about me, I don't care who you are, friend, whatever, I cannot stand people that play the victim, because the problem with playing the victim is you're never actually being able to take accountability for what you've done. So when the narcissistic mother is playing the victim, not once does she ever take accountability for how she's made you feel, what she's done, what she said. It's almost like she never thinks. She never thinks, wow, I shouldn't have said that. Like that sort of witness or that conviction within her is dead, which is scary. They have an unreasonably high sense of their own importance. Hence why everything they do is kind of like making them seem like here and you here. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up because it really does help me out. Giving the video a thumbs up and leaving a comment helps the algorithm. It does. It just does. If you want me to thrive, if you want me to succeed, if you want this video to be seen, be interactive. It just helps. Peace.